Good afternoon, and a special shout out to Mr. Spock and Sunbuster. Welcome to the stream. Now, if there's anything you guys want to see in particular, let me know and we'll see what we can do. We're going to keep an eye on the footy scores, as I know that Sunbuster doesn't care, but I do. Well, a bit. I find it interesting. Right, so we have a drone shooting game. And we have AI. We have lots of stuff. So let's have a look at it. Yay. And you guys can tell me what you think and what you think I should work on. So, gonna have to wait for a second till this loads for the first time. Mr. Spock, I wouldn't say it's amazing. I would say it has potential. While Groenland is being expanded on the map, unless Kent is here in the chat, because I wanted his thoughts on this. Now, last night we got our I keep messing up thermal with night vision. So we have 4 cameras. Sorry, we have 2 cameras. We have 2 cameras, 4 modes, plus zoom 8 times, plus our battery, plus our altimeter, which you can see on the right hand side there, and we've clicked on something else, I think, or it's just basically getting itself running. Right, so we have nighttime happening pretty quick. We can have snipers, but snipers are going to be a type of enemy, right? Now, we are kind of running at snail's pace, which means that probably it's doing shaders. Right, it's doing the old shadery thing. Right, now, so we've got 2 cameras. We've got looky down, looky ahead. Right, you can see it's pretty dark. Right. And then we have our different modes, which are best looked at if we looky down. So we're going to looky down. Then if we switch on our thermal, right, this is actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch our day-night cycle to be a little bit not so quick. Right, there's a lot of things that we need to do with this night cycle, right? Like stop stuff, like setting up how we want the weather, whether or not we want it dynamic or not, right? Now, my colleague is much better at setting this stuff up than me, because I've never done it before. Not to say that I'm going to be doing it better than him, even if I've have a go at it, but we basically, now I was expecting it to have a setting here where I could switch off like thunderstorms and stuff, but who knows. Yeah, we are going to have a threat to the drone, right? But it's only going to be at certain heights, right? Or this is how I'm thinking about it anyway, right? There's only going to be certain heights. So if you're over like a certain height, then basically they're not going to be able to shoot at you, right? Whereas if you go too near the ground, hi Lucid Dreams, long time mate, good to see some familiar faces back. Right, so what we're going to have is under a certain altitude, then people will shoot at you, right? Now what we need to work out, and I'm sure there's stuff on it, is what is the like if they've got an AK-47, let's say, you know, whatever type of gun is the sort of standard gun, right? I don't know I don't know nothing about guns, to be honest. Right, so I think I know an M4 and a AK-47, that's about my limit to guns. Right? So, we need to work out we need to do research and find out what is the effective range of like an M4 or an AK-47, right? Because effectively they might be able to shoot a mile, right? But you're never going to hit anything a mile away. So the effective range would maybe be 100 meters, right? So we need to kind of work that out, and then basically we can add a perception to the drone to output noise all the time that outputs 100 meters, right? So basically, if you trigger a soldier with the sound, then they'll target you and try to shoot at you, right? But if you're too far away, like 200 meters, right, you're not going to trigger them, so basically they're not going to know you're there. That's my thinking on this. Okay, so let's hope it's settled down and it's going to run a bit better. Hopefully Unreal Engine's had its little moment. Right, so we want our soldiers to stay in the tree line, right, and near the paths, because that's the normal thing for a soldier to do, right? Because if you go out in the open, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lucid. I don't know, I'll need to look up the effective distances. I mean, I know that a sniper can fire for goddamn miles, right? But a sniper ain't probably going to target a drone, because normally a sniper, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, right? I'm prepared to be corrected on this one. A sniper normally goes for a stationary target, or like something very slow moving, right? Like somebody walking in the distance, right? So basically, a sniper isn't really going to be taking out drones, right? Because drones move pretty fast, right? What do you think, guys? I mean, we're not trying to make it too realistic, right? But we want to have some sort of realism involved. Right, so let's have a look at our thermals. So that's our night vision thermals, right? And it's automatically going to switch. And Unreal Engine's running like a dog. right? So that's it changing to daytime. So it basically switches off. Yeah, there's something going on here. Yeah, I think my internet connection's been crap since we lost power on Sunday because of thunderstorms. What I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a save all. Right. God, that's saving a lot considering I haven't changed anything. Oh, and it's running like a dog. By the way, Wolves won up against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa won up against Fulham, and Leeds Leicester 0-0. Right. Right, there's the problem. We're running two versions of this. You see how there's two versions? See if you get that error, right? See if you get this error, failed to save. Right, it means you've got two versions of it open. Right, which explains why it's running like a dog. Right, and we'll just basically tell it not to save anything. Right, we'll close that down. We'll close that down. We'll close everything down. I'm waiting. What happened, Lucid Dreams? Mr. Spock hasn't really been here either for the last couple of days. Been really quiet the last couple of days, to be fair. Anyway, yeah. Okay, here's the combat drone story. Okay, my colleague is working on the Groenland map, which is going to take him quite a while because it's bloody big. So, if you don't know, every night after basically my stream, I watch it's like a news program on the Ukraine-Russia thing, right? And it's all the videos from the day, and a lot of them are drones dropping bomblets, right? And I thought, and there was somebody at the same time, I can't remember who it was, right? We're talking about possessing a drone. And I can't remember who it was. Oh yeah, I can. It was Mike. It's one of the guys that normally is in the chat at night. Right? Mike Hardy. So he's making a game like Splinter Cell and he wanted drones in it, right? So I did that on a stream. Okay? Where you possess the drone. So you run about as a normal guy, third person, blah 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 blah, and then you jump into the drone and you can fly the drone about. Right? So that's how it started. And then, as I was saying, I was watching the videos on Ukraine and watching the videos of the drones dropping bomblets on tanks and soldiers and ammo dumps and blah blah blah. And then that morning, or the next morning, the next morning, I thought, 2 and 2. Make a game. Drones dropping bomblets. And make it look like real life footage. Right? So you're the drone operator on the battlefield. So that's how the idea came about. Plus the fact that my colleague was working on Groenland, the map, which is going to take a while. So I thought, we'll do a couple of days on that. And that is how we ended up on drones. So, a very long story for a very short thing, really. And is this actually going to load up? Apparently yes. Clicked on it right at that moment. So hopefully this will run better, so you get a better idea of what this actually blooming looks like. So what we did last night is we automated the thermal, sorry, not the thermal, the night vision to change back to the normal camera post-processing when it hits the daytime, right? Because you don't use night vision during the day because you can't see a bloody thing, right? Because the screen basically gets washed out white with all the light coming in, right? So, now the reason that I think this game's going to work is because A, it's going to look cool, hopefully. 2, it's topical. If you look anywhere, you will find loads of videos on drones dropping bomblets. Right, now the idea here is to turn it into missions where you have to take out an ammo dump or you have to kill X amount of soldiers in the field or go and take photos or something like that, whatever, right? But the idea is that we do that, right? So let me change the widget reflector for you guys and we'll have a look at it and hopefully it will run a bit better with only one running and no errors going on. Right? So the idea, as I said, is to create fields or whatever as a mission, right? And basically, if you look at any of the videos in Ukraine or whatever, yes, we're going to put tanks, we're going to put trucks, tanks, we've already got artillery somewhere. It's in the trees, because that's where artillery is. There, it's there. See, artillery? Because artillery hides in the trees. Because that's what artillery does. Right? So we're going to have a look at that in a minute when we look at thermal. And I mean thermal this time. Right? So, as I said, if we put blocking volumes in, right, that's going to stop our soldiers and tanks and stuff running through these fields. They're going to stick to the paths and to the edges and to the tree line, which is actually what would happen in real life, right? Because you don't want to be running in the open because you don't want to get shot. Right, and you don't want to get bombed by a drone. Okay? So that's the plan, and the idea is we're going to have like trenches and stuff, and we're going to adapt the AI to like stick in one place for a while. If they're in a trench, they won't move very far, Whereas maybe if they get shot, they'll run for cover or blah blah blah, right? But I Wagyu, how are you today? Right, so let's have a look at our camera and our modes and our altitude and our zoom and everything that we've got at the moment. Right, we can actually drop bombs and we can actually kill soldiers at the moment, right? Which is what we're going to hopefully do. Right, that's if I can actually work. Now, I've also got it working on the joypad. I've set that up on an Xbox controller, but I haven't got it plugged in just now, so you're going to have to watch me flaff about the buttons. Well, you're not going to watch me flaff about the buttons, but I'm going to be flapping about the buttons, right? Because you've got 6 degrees of movement here, we've got up, down, left, right, rotate. I don't know whether to put side to side or not, right? That's doing a bit of a shader thing, but it's not going to take long. Right, there we go. So, you can see that our altitude meter thing works, right? And we can look up at the sky. Then we can look down. That's straight down, right? Then we can go into thermally mode, but it's going to switch off because that's during the day. But now, sorry, night vision. Then we can switch on to and look at that, it's cool. Now what we can do is we can zoom in our camera, right? And there's a guy right in the middle, bomb. And there he goes. We can zoom our camera back out, right? And then we can go to, that's black and white mode. That is normal mode, and that is night vision mode. Okay? So that's it automatically switching because it's daytime again. But as I said, it's kind of weird because it's basically swapping between night vision and stuff. Like if we zoom down, woo, right, there's night vision. Then we can rotate. And that was not what we wanted to do. So best on thermal. Right, we're obviously going to be able to blow up artillery, but I want to do special stuff with that, right, which we might have a look at. Right, he's buggered off. Right, but we can zoom in. Now, what we also need to do is we need to add like a wind velocity, because we don't want the bomb just to fall straight down every time. We want it to be affected, right, by the wind and stuff. Now he's hiding in the trees, but we're still close enough to get him, right? And what we need to also do is we're going to need, yeah, that's not going to kill him, right? But that's injured him, right? See him running like that? That means he's injured, right? I just haven't got an injured animation, so we went with something else just to signify that he was injured. But as you can see, our thermals are working well. We can switch to day and night, although I think it's night. We can stick to forward camera. We can go to, yeah, it's went to day. Right. And there we go, there's night. Right, and there's somebody running around up in the air. Right, that's because she's ran on top of a blocking. Right, so really what I need to do is stop that. but that's okay. We're just trying to get the effect here of what's going on. So that is thermal, and we can't see anything because there's nothing. Right? Black and white, dark, dark, thermal, sorry, night vision. Right, and that's turned back to day. So we should be able to turn, that's black and white, right? See how that's black and white, grainy? So these are just all done with post-process, right? With me flapping about with the camera post-process. So there's nothing, so that's night time. That's our night vision. That's our thermal. That's our black and white. That's our colour. Yeah, we're going to do that as well. Okay, so the one thing I want to do, right? Well, there's about 3 million more things I want to do. But I want like a starter. Right, now I'm going to show you how this is going to work, right? Actually, the best thing to do it with, right, is with our artillery. Right? Wherever the hell it is. You wouldn't think artillery could hide so well, but apparently it does. Right, here it's here. Right? So this is our artillery, right? Now, my idea for this, I've got a couple of different artilleries, right? But what we're going to do with this is something really funky. Right? Ah, damn. I can't. Oh, you. Right, we're just going to wait on this opening. And it's going to open on the other screen for some reason. Then it's going to do something weird again. Right. Oh, damn it. Drag that over it. Right. So the idea here, right, is what we could do. That does fire, right? So we're going to set it to fire and stuff like that, right? But here's the interesting part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cube. Right, now I'll explain this in a minute. Right. Now, you can see there that that's shells getting thrown out. That's exactly what I want. See that shell thing that's getting thrown out? That's the thing I want. So has this got... Where's the shells? Show me where the shells are. Right, let's have a look to see what we've got here. Because we've got a damaged one, right? We've got a damaged, so if we damage the thing, there's a damaged version, right? Where it's all knackered. Right, so we can use that. Cool. But the interesting thing is the FX, there's this shell eject, right? Now the question is that using a mesh for the shell? Because if it is, I can reuse that as like the ammo dump, right? If it's doing like a particle effect with meshes, right? So you might not know this, guys, right? But here's a little thing that with Niagara you can quite easily make particle meshes, right? If you do a mesh renderer like that, right? So I'm hoping this is the shell. So it's actually firing a shell out, right? And we've got our mesh, which is here. And there is our bullet shell static mesh. So I can reuse that. And there it's there. Oh, lovely. Lovely jubbly. That's exactly what I wanted. Oh, we didn't want to do that. Come back, artillery. Come back, I didn't mean to hurt you. Right, so, while that's doing the shader crap, what I want to do is, in the tank, I'm going to get the tank, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put what it will be effectively overlaps, right? Inside the tank. Right, so if you drop a bomblet inside the tank and it overlaps, then it's going to set off like explosions within the tank. Right, if you just hit the outside of the tank, it's just going to explode. And you'll, if you've watched any of the videos, a lot of the tanks and the APCs and all of that stuff, unless you're really lucky, like you hit them in a specific place in on the engine bay, right? It won't explode. It'll just do a little bit of damage, you know. But what I want to do here is next to this, right, you could blow up the artillery piece, which will just destroy the artillery piece. Right? Now, if you destroy a big hunk of metal, it doesn't explode, right? But if you blow up the ammo cache, then it basically goes up like the 4th of July. Right? So my point here was this was going to be the ammo supply. And if you actually hit this with your grenade, like all the shells are going to start exploding all over the place, right? So that was how I was going to make this work. So also, like if you've got a car, right, you know how to use the Toyota Hilux with guns on the back and stuff like that, right? Well, you can basically hit a Hilux, we basically drop a building on it and it still goes, right? So what I would do in that case is like put a collision on like just the front, so that if you hit the engine, it's basically going to stop it, right? Whereas if you hit it anywhere else, it's going to carry on like a APC, right? So the idea is to have different points on the different vehicles that either make it blow up or not, right? That was my point of the cube, right? This cube was going to be like the ammo dump, right? So in effect, we can remove this cube, right? And we could, well, I think the best idea here would be to create an instance mesh or something, right? With like X number of these. But we'll drag this in anyway. Right. Now, we want to move this to the side. It's still running like a dog. Now, here's the thing, that doesn't look as if it's actually a static mesh. Where is it? Or it's sized up or something. Or I can't see it because it's just a bad angle. Right, it's still doing those shaders. Let's double click on this. I want to see this to see if it is just a... Yeah, it's just a bit small. And apparently... Yeah, it's a bit shiny. Well, we can adjust that to make it not so shiny. Right. It is being Mr. Shiny though. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go to the top so we can actually see the darn thing. Oh my god. The shaders on this. Let's see. Auto activate. No, thank you. Right, where is our goddamn shell? Right, so it looks like I mean, am I missing something here? Is this just the tiniest shell in the history of the world or something? Right, let's make it 5. Yeah, it's just the tiniest shell in the world. Right, not only that, it's facing the wrong bloody way. Alright. Now, the interesting thing here, or not, actually, is what I can do is I can put custom depth, right? right? And if I put my custom depth, then that is going to start showing up in thermal. Okay? So we will start seeing these in our thermal imaging. That's if we can actually run Unreal Engine 5 more than 2 frames a second, because it ain't going to be very thermal at 2 frames a second. Oh my lord, this is going really slow. Right, but the point is here, if we get this, the point of this running, right, we need to come down a bit. And we should really change the time of day again, right, because it's not going to give us any time. Right. Now, we're going to shut this Niagara system down, if this ever stops. It seems to be Niagara. Niagara seems to absolutely obliterate performance when you've got Niagara open and other things. As you can see, that suddenly things start jumping about like they kinda should. Right? So you'll notice now, okay, maybe I'm wrong, but it's better. Right, it's still running like a dog. Day-night cycle, right, and we're going to bump that up. We'll set it to 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. Okay. So hopefully it should stop doing what it's doing right now, which is running at 2 frames a second. So if we press play, right, now if I'm right here, there is our thing, right? Now the question is, right, we're going to do, press the wrong button, we're going to do down, right, we're going to do thermal, and that over there there it's there, right? That is our shell right there, right? There's our shell. So that works perfectly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make the shell into an ammo dump, and then when the ammo dump gets hit, we're going to do a big explosion. Okay, and it's going to be the same for the tank if you hit inside or certain parts. It's going to be the same for the car if you hit the engine compartment. It's going to be the same in the trenches if there's an ammo dump in the trench. Or we could do like a military base type thing, like an outpost or whatever it would be called, can't remember, that has like an ammo dump in it, even though normally you don't put an ammo dump next to the soldiers, because basically if the ammo dump goes up, then basically it kills all the soldiers. So that's not a good idea, right? So the ammo dump would be outside the outpost, right, or somewhere further away, right? But that's the point. The point is we can see our ammo, we can identify it, and we can blow it up. So I'm going to go and grab a cigarette. You guys are going to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, although most of you have. And I shall be back in a minute or two. So don't go anywhere. Check out links in the description, all that good stuff. We're going to make some explosions. Alright guys, we are back. So let's have a think about this. I don't want to rush into it. Right, I want to only have to do this once, preferably. Oh, this is still dramatically slow. Right, so what we'll do, we know that this shell exists, so that's a good thing. So we're going to delete that. We're going to compile that back up again. Right, we're going to close that down. And let's create an actor. Right, and we'll call it BP ammo stash, right? And this is going to basically have like, well, it's going to have a static mesh, that's for sure. And we'll probably end up making these instance, but we'll just basically right, and we'll add that in there. These are going to be static, right? And then this is going to be 5, right? And as usual, it's going to cover it up with all that crap so I can't see the darn thing, right? Hi Zorky. Grassland is going fine. We're just waiting on updates to the level and stuff. So we're just taking a little break to work on a combat drone thing. Right? And we're going to have to, we're probably going to draw this some other way, but I'm just going to stick a couple of static meshes in there anyway. And we're going to add the custom depth. Custom depth pass. And the same on that one. Compile that. Right, now can move that there, and then what we can do is we can move that to there and up a bit, right? And that means if we do our down looking camera, we should be looking straight at our stuff, right? Once it does its thing, right? And where is the ammo stash? Did that even work, or did I put it under the ground or something? Like a right numpty. Right, where is our ammo stash? partly under the ground. So let's try that again, shall we? Might need to make it static meshes and then fluff about this later, but we'll get something working. Right, so okay. Apparently that doesn't work as instance meshes. Okay, live and learn. I've probably done that wrong, but that's okay. I'll have a look at that later. As I said, I'll probably do calculations on that. Right, so we'll basically just add the static mesh, just for the sake of getting it working. Right, we'll set that render path. We'll set this to 5. We'll drag that in. It doesn't really matter about the right. The point is just to make it look kind of like a stash. Right, now we could, in theory, the way I would probably do this is do it like this for now, right? And then I would probably make it procedural so that it offsets them and basically spins them around a little so that they're not all perfectly straight, right? But we're just trying to get this to actually do something and look kinda like a bunch of shells, you know, bunch of shells. Does that look like a bunch of shells to you guys? Because it certainly looks like a bunch of shells to me. Right, compile that, and you can see now. Need to slow this camera down a bit. Notice how suddenly Unreal is being very, very responsive. So there you go. We have ammo shells, right? And if we go like that, and then look down, there's our ammo shells, and there they are in so what we'll be able to do now, if I can actually drive my drone, which oh my god, the drone's pretty low to the ground at the moment. Right, but what we can do is kill somebody. Right, now this is where the fun starts. Now we can either do this as a collision, which we'll do first and try it, right? So we'll do a sphere collision. Right, now as you can see, our stuff isn't really in the middle very well, right? And we probably want that Yeah, that's probably about enough to be fair. Right? We don't want it to explode like if you're a mile off, right? So it's going to have to be a pretty accurate hit, is what I'm saying. And we're going to have to do the dreaded opening up of Niagara systems. Okay, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to get that sphere. Right, that's going to be there. And we're going to begin overlap, right? We're going to delete that for now. Right? And then we're going to do hashtag. And we're going to say bomblet. And we're going to just check to see if our collision works. Right? So in here we're going to say print string. Right? Keep it simple to start with. And we're going to say massive explosion on screen. And we're going to say 20. We're going to compile that. We're going to press play. Okay. Boom. Massive explosion on screen. Massive explosion on screen. Beautiful. Right. So, next, Niagara particle system. And we're not going to add. What we're probably going to do, we've got particle systems for this. Those are cascade. These are Niagara. Anyway, we're going to go to our explosions builder, Niagara, and there's some of these explosions that are like blown up everywhere. Like that, for example. That's nearly what we want, but not quite. That's not what we want. That's not really... that's okay, but... See, we probably want an amalgamation of different explosions here, right? We don't necessarily just want one. But there is one here that I know it's not that one. Right, so let's have a look at these ones. Now we could open up. Alright, it's not that one. There's one that's like fireballs shooting up into the sky. That's the one I'm looking for as a default. And that's not it either. And I really don't want to go into the demo room. Oh yeah, this is going to be horrific. Come on. Yeah, I've got all these. The problem is I've loaded up all these Niagara systems. So it's just having a flaky to itself. Right, because that was a really bad idea. That's a nice one, right? So that can be part of it. As I said, the idea here is we basically do a bit of procedural, just picking explosions, right? And some of them are just going to be like smoke, and some of them are going to be like big explosions like this, right? And we'll just basically randomly over a course of time play different explosions and stuff, different smoke, different explosions, because what you find is in these things they don't like, that's kind of like it, right? But we want it to go kind of further, so explosion 7 is a possibility, right? Now, what was explosion 9? Well, it was crap. Oh, wait a minute. Well, that's a pretty good one, actually. Right, 7 and 9 are good. We like them. Not bad. Not great. And what you're supposed to do is kind of add these together, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at 7. Right? This is kind of the one that we want, right? But we want it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to call it underscore ammo 1, right? Because this might be part 1 of the ammo thing, right? So we're going to close the other ones down. Alright, now this is only it is doing a mesh rendering. No, it's bright. That's okay. Right. So when we initialize the particle, right, it's got a lifetime of 1.5, right? If we change that, let's say to 3, let's see what it does. Now, we're going to do 1.5 again. Now, the 3 is probably something we need to do, right? And right, so this is drawing it in a sphere. And burst instantaneous. That's okay, but what I really want to know is if there is a speed, because I want them to fly further out. And I can make these bigger. But it looks to me like there ain't no speed. Now what's this camera offset? Okay, so that's 10, right? So let's change it to 20. Okay, let's make it 90. Yeah, that's bigger. Let's make it 180. Now, the interesting thing here is we really want them all to spawn up the way, if you know what I mean. Right? So basically, position. That's the sprite size. So we need to have a flaff about with this. What was that at? It was at 50. So what if we change these? Right, on the Y is horrible. Right, so you know what we want? We just want a sprite burst, right? And then just do the normal sprite burst, right? But use these sprites. You know what I mean? Use the same sub UV and the same other stuff. Right, so add emitter. Right, a directional burst. Right, we'll switch this one off. emitter state once. Okay, so that's fine. So velocity I think we need the cone angle is at 50. Right, so it's pointing on the X, right? So we zero that and we go 1. And that's kind of what we want. Right? We're not going to have gravity. So they're basically going to go like that, straight up. Right? So you're just going to run a sequence to have 2 or 3 bursts. No, I want 1. But what we're going to do is we're going to create like some of them. So we're going to have some of them that just explode straight up. And what you got to remember is these things like fly out at all angles. Right? It's like basically letting off a series of fireworks. Right? That are in a box, that are just basically flung in a box. Right? You don't know which direction they're going to go, how much they're going to explode, blah blah blah. Right? You just know that there's going to be some explosions. That's the thing. Right? So we're going to copy that. Right? And then we're going to paste it in there. Okay? Then we're going to add a sub UV animation. And we're going to drag it to here. And then we're going to check this one out. And it's 0 to 63. Right. So that's sprite. And it says no sprite render selected. Are you mental? Oh, there it is. Right, so that's kind of okay. A bit. Then we're going to say scale sprite size. Can we copy this? We can. Can we paste it? We can. Right. Now we want the velocity to be down a bit. And what we can do, we can look at the particle state, that's alright. Right, we can look at the initialized particle, that's got a load of stuff. Right. So that's a direct set at 1.5. So as I said, we can take stuff. You can see that we're gradually getting our thing working there. So what we could do is we could copy this, but then add a velocity. So that might be the easier way to do it, in fact. So let's try that. Right, now what you got to remember is we could add both of these together, right? There's nothing stopping us doing that. Right? So that it's going to fire both particle systems at once. Right, I don't know what we're going to see here, but we'll soon find out. Right, we can see our second one, but we're not seeing this one yet. Right, now on the particle update, we could do it. Let's see if we can add a velocity. We're not doing any of them. Static mesh velocity. Actually, we can add velocity from here. Right, and we can turn this one off. Right, that'll basically add a velocity, add scale, solve those. Right, so velocity mode, we've got linear from point, and that'll do for now. Right, so basically we're just doing it on Z, which is up the way. And I want to see what this looks like if it compiles, if it actually works. Is it going to work? That's the question. Hi guys, Chips, how you doing? Is this going to actually do anything? I wonder. I mean, you could do it in a... You could do a loop count on it. Right, why is this not doing jack?
let's I don't think this is a problem, but I want to get this one back up on the screen. I don't know whether it's doing shaders or whether it's not happening or what the heck it's doing. Okay, let's try something else. Right. What we're going to do is, this was 7, right? So that's all great, good and great. Okay. So that's kind of the one we want. Right, so we're going to duplicate it again. Okay. And we're going to call it ammo B. Then we're going to open it up. Right, so we've got it doing that, right, with no changes. Okay. So the question is, on our particle spawn, if we add a velocity, right, it's going to fix that by adding these. Now, if I change the scale, that's kind of what we want. Not quite that fast though. So they're all going up. So if I change that back to 1, right, and we change this to 100, they are going up. Let's change it to 200. Right, and then let's do 50 on the X and 50 on the Y. Now, what we want to do is actually change this to a random range vector, right? So now we can say you're going to go from 200 to 400. Right? So that's cool. Why is this sodding camera? Right? We can do minus 50 to 50. And the same there. Minus 50 to 50. Right? And now this might be a cool thing. It's only taken us a while, right? But if we drag this in, right? And then let's say we scale this. Can we? Yeah, it's not going to scale that way. Okay, so we're going to have to scale it within our right, so we're going to be scaling this, and then we shall go for a 2. Right, that's quite good. We could in fact go for a 3. Right. What we'll do, I'm not liking that thing over there. Not that it's probably going to matter, but we're going to close that. Okay. So we're going to delete that. Right. We're going to go to our Niagara system, and we're going to drag that to there. Right. Then we're going to go to our viewport. And I think this is the realm. What we're going to not do. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to say don't auto activate. What we'll do is we'll actually just spawn this in, right? But in the meantime, what we'll do is we shall just activate it. Right. So activate. And we'll put it there. We'll compile that. Right. We'll press play. Well, Right, so basically we just want to spawn it once, right? But we can see how that looks. Whoa. If we do a forward. What do you think, guys? Now the point is what we can do after this is we can spawn some more smoke. Right? So that it doesn't look so bad. Or not so bad, but oh, that looks really cool. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn that and then I'm going to delay it for about, let's say, half a second, and then I'm going to spawn more smoke that lasts for a bit longer. But yeah, that's looking good. I'm going to call that a win. The only thing is I need to work out how to get the custom depth. That's in black and white. And that's in colour. But yeah, cool. So by adding our velocity in, right, we've got it to do a bit more of what we want. And what we really want to do now, or what I intend to do now, is basically not do this, right? What I intend to do is basically spawn it in once, right? So it isn't repeating. And then I'll spawn in some smoke as well, right? Because we've got some smoke that's just smoke, okay? So we've got fire there. We've got impact. Let's have a look at these. We've got these like high impact explosions and stuff. I need to have a look at what they look like in the grand scheme of things. See, these have got loads of crap. This ribbon leader is looking good. We might want to, like, explode this one inside the other one, so that we want, like, streamers going out everywhere. So this sounds like the thing we want. Right, but we might just want this ribbon leader thing added to our other one. But I want to see it first. Come on, let's see it. This would probably be quicker if I just drag this into the scene and have a look at it there. It is doing shaders again, great. Final scores, Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 0, that's, well, both of them are pretty safe anyway. Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0, Aston Villa pushing for Europe. So what I could do here, right, is I could switch these off until I get the one I want, and then copy that emitter into your other one, right? So basically we can switch this off, all of these off, right? And I believe it might be this one, right? And if that's the case, I can copy this and add it to our other one. So that's going to give us the fireballs coming out, and then it's going to give us the shooting stuff as well, right? And we obviously aren't going to shoot them down, right? So if this is shooting them down, I'm going to take away the velocity on the -Z and make sure it only goes up the way, then spread them out on X and Y, and we should basically see some cool stuff. And that's the idea if this is ever going to compile. But I'm going to do that later or off stream. I've got some other stuff to work on. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back at 8 PM Central tonight. We've got a little bit that's cool. That's kind of what we want, right? And we really want to look at these just individually and see what ones we want to add to our other explosion. Okay, so I'm going to have a look through this for another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to work on something else. But as I said, thank you guys for watching. It's been a pleasure having you here. Lucid Dreams, Sunbuster, Cat Eats Chips, Mr. Spock, Wag, you, Yori, I forgot your names, Zorky, Wagyu. So, I will be back tonight, 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.